Hello, everybody. Welcome back to Bellefontaine, Ohio, the home of the Chieftains, the home of Tavien St. Clair, who just now, thanks to the power of the internet, has made a decision that is fairly important in your life. Tavien, congratulations on committing to Ohio State. It certainly has happened different than you anticipated even when I was here 2 weeks ago. So absent the idea of just diving deep into what it all means, what changed in your mind in the last 17 days, really?
I would say just the feel I've gotten from the coaching staff. After the offer, they've kind of, recruited me hard. I get calls from Coach Dennis, and I've been on the phone with Coach Hartline and Coach Day a lot recently. And I think just having my family down there for the camp and just the way Coach Day interacted with them and just was really down to earth and just had normal conversations with them. And the honesty, like the questions my parents got to ask, and he answered them all how we wanted to hear them. And I think it just kind of helped me to see around, look around, watch practice, and see that this is a place that I could see myself playing.
You also got to see other places in the last couple of weeks. So you saw some of the best programs in the country. You were at LSU and Alabama, and sometimes it's apples to apples when you're dealing with Alabama and Ohio States and the Michigans of the world. Like, these are the schools that everyone in your position dreams of getting an opportunity to play for. And when you're on a visit at a place like Alabama or Ohio State, some of the things are going to feel pretty similar, right? Because they're the elite. What was the primary difference, I guess, as you started to parse through the personalities or the culture or comfort? I mean, what ultimately is that piece that was over the top?
I'd say just the constant quarterback development was a big role that played into that. It was just Alabama's got a new kind of offensive coordinator and things like that. They've had success at the quarterback position the past few years, but it's just been like guy after guy at Ohio State, and they know how to develop guys to go to the NFL. So, just being the best player I can be was something that I was looking for in school, and I feel like Ohio State's the school that's going to give me that.
Now, as we're recording this, the coaching staff does not know yet. So I assume, and I'd be shocked to be wrong, but once you tell them the decision, they're going to react a certain way. Why do you want them to be surprised? What is it about that you feel like that's going to be the way to do it?
I'd mostly just say because they've been kind of pushing it on, like whenever you're ready to commit, we're ready as well. And I've just been kind of giving them the answer, like, I'm going to see everybody I can. And it kind of draws it on, like just trying to see how else they can try and recruit.
What the next way they can say it is?
Yeah, so I think going down there just to, work out with Coach Dennis and then tell him and Coach Day the news tomorrow will be something special.
I heard anecdotally after you returned, as you were on your way home from Ann Arbor a week ago, that you and your family received correspondence from Brian Hartline, from Corey Dennis, from Justin Fry, from Tony Alford. Like, that was hours after announcing that you had an offer from Michigan. What was that like? I mean, because that doesn't seem to be a coincidence. So how did you take that?
It was pretty cool, really. It was just, there's always a reason behind everything. So when I got the offer, I knew a call from Coach Dennis was coming. And so, when I got the call, it was just like, how'd you like it and things like that. And, that whole trip up to Ann Arbor was kind of just a way to compare it to the other schools. And I feel like after that trip, it kind of helped me to see that Ohio State was the one for me.
You are the first quarterback, ostensibly, as long as everything goes from here to next December, as we'd expect, will be the first quarterback to sign with Ohio State since 2015. It was a guy named Joe Burrow who did that then. You may have heard of him. I know that you're a Patrick Mahomes guy, but Ohio State fans will probably have to work on that. But right. As you think about that from the big picture, like the difference in your life from not just the work you're doing in here, the workouts, the weight, the way you're approaching the game, but like Has it hit you at all what this is doing? I mean, you have single-handedly, not single-handedly because you have obviously coaches and parents and everyone who's supporting you, but you are going to put Bellefontaine on the map in a way that people will never have done it really before in Ohio football, especially with the Buckeyes. How does that strike you?
It's definitely a true honor. I mean, to be one of the first ones to do it will be a dream come true. I mean, everybody says it, but really, like a kid from Ohio, you want to be a Buckeye. I mean, you watch them every Saturday since you were growing up. So the fact that I'm going to get to be the first one since Joe to do it and look at what Joe's done. I mean, yeah, he went to LSU, but what he's been able to do is just going to be cool to do it with the Buckeyes this time fully. So
the opportunities ahead of you are obviously vast. You have a number of ways to now capitalize on what this decision means for your family in other ways, for NIL and all that as you get into college. But now you have to prepare yourself in a totally different way, right? I mean, the expectations when you come out here in September to that field and are playing against high school, everyone is going to hit you a little harder. Every time they hit you, they're going to get up and say something a little different.
Right.
Fans, you're either going to be the greatest player of all time or you suck.
Right.
So, like, how do you begin to adapt or to adjust, like, to noise? Because you're going to hear more noise than you've ever heard before.
Yeah, I mean, that's been something that, people around me have prepared me for. Like, me and Coach Brown always talk about how, as a quarterback and the head coach, you're either going to get too much blame or, too much credit. So, I mean, that's kind of just, I know that's a part that comes along with this, but I'm ready to take it head on. I mean, it's just a part of the game. And even people like LeBron James, he's one of the greatest basketball players of all time, but people hate him just because he's good. It's just certain things you got to take on at the next level. So,
you are commitment number 2 in the class of 2025 for Ohio State. Although a lot of times people don't remember that Jonte Gilbert, the cornerback from Georgia, is committed to Ohio State. Have you spoken to Jonte ever? And I know you haven't yet because you haven't told anybody else about this decision, but do you start to put together a plan of, I'm the leader of the class of 2025 and now I'm going to go out and make sure people know who I am?
Definitely. I mean, at a place like Ohio State, it just means more. You have to really go after the best players in the country because that's what Ohio State's capable of doing. So that's one of the first thoughts I have as, being an Ohio State commit. It's just going out and recruiting the guys that the coaches want. Like my thought is I'll get, not necessarily a list, but an amount of the players that they want to get, and I'm going to, recruit them as hard as a school would.
I think it's interesting, and people are going to look at this decision and there will be a couple different views that people take. Number one, people say, oh, well, Ohio State was recruiting Bryce Underwood and he's the number 1 ranked player in the country, ignoring the fact that the coaching staff has essentially chosen you, which I know means a lot to you because they could have held this out, they could have dragged this on and see what happens with other players, and they want you to be this guy. It also means that you have a unique opportunity among quarterbacks over the Ryan Day era at Ohio State, where you're 45 minutes away from campus, and no one else. I mean, we've seen that with Jack Sawyer. We've seen it with a couple other players that were in Columbus, Sonny Styles, et cetera, who got to be on campus a lot and learn maybe at an advanced rate.
Right.
For a quarterback to do that with Ryan Day and Corey Dennis and Todd Fitch, how valuable do you think that is for you in your development?
To be honest, that's one of the main reasons I'd say that drew me to Ohio State to make this decision because, there's been a lot of Ohio State quarterback commits, but there's never been one from, 45 minutes away, like you said. So the fact that I'll get to go up there, and watch practices, as many times as I want, is just going to kind of help me to develop and be ready because I still have 2 years to go. So just getting to learn a lot of stuff will be a big advantage.
Yeah, I can't think. I mean, if you look back at the Ryan Day era, there's been quarterbacks from California. There's been Justin Fields from Georgia. We've seen, Devin Brown's from Arizona / Utah. Kyle McCord is from Philadelphia. Like, there's not been anyone that's had the opportunity to really just absorb it all and learn the system in high school and learn. So it is sort of a unique twist on things here. You and your family, like, what does it mean for you to be able to just celebrate this with everyone in your family? Because I know that even though you grew up an Ohio State fan, you have done a good job separating fan from prospect, from recruit.
So
Your family maybe not as good a job, right? Because they're once they start to realize, like, oh, there's an opportunity for Ohio State to be the school, they probably feel a little different. Like, what did they do when you told them that you were making this decision?
So I've told a few of my family members, but I'm gonna tell them all tomorrow after I tell Coach Day. But I already know some of the reactions I'm gonna get, emotions and just like a lot of excitement for sure. It's just, like you said, my family might not have shown it as much once there was an opportunity to play for Ohio State, but it's gonna be, one of the biggest things we've ever had, so.
You're a 16-year-old dude, not uber emotional. I'm not trying to make you cry when you start to think about this, but like, your life has changed, and Coach Brown's life has changed. Your teammates' lives have changed. There's going to be so much more focus on Bellefontaine football now than there ever has been before. As you move forward here over these next few months, getting ready for your junior season, it's a pretty big year, right? I mean, you guys were on the cusp last year, and you feel like you have a shot to push for a deep playoff run. How glad are you to know that you can just focus on that and not all this other stuff?
Yeah, it's, I had a talk with Coach Brown when I told him, and it was just like, it'll just be a big relief. Like, you don't necessarily have to pick up the phone every single day, like to make calls to here, there, and everywhere. It'll just be more of, I'm committed to Ohio State, and just kind of get to settle in and be around here and not have to make camp trips anymore over the summer. So it'll be fun to be home.
Well, life is going to be interesting for you for the rest of your life.
Yeah.
The simple truth is that you're in a position now that every little kid who's ever picked up a football in the state of Ohio has dreamt of. When you see, and this will be the last question, and I'm going to put you on the spot a little. When you see guys from Ohio who are being recruited by Ohio State considering other schools, how do you feel like you will approach that? I mean, is it a come on, what are you doing? A little slap upside the head? I mean, how aggressive do you feel like you're going to be in that space? Because if you look at the class of 2025, Marquise Davis has an offer, Bo Jackson has an offer, Justin Hill has an offer. It's been aggressive. Carter Lowe has an offer. Like, the Buckeyes have been aggressive in the state, more so than in the past. Are those the first calls you make?
Definitely, just because you want to get the strongest class you can, and being a kid from Ohio dreaming about playing for Ohio State, like, I have a different point of view to, than someone that's just like a commit from California. Mm-hmm. Like, it means something to be a Buckeye, so like just throwing things in there like that in my, my messages to them or calls to them, like, dude, it means something. Like, you've dreamed about being a Buckeye for your whole life, so now you have the opportunity. So it's like, what are you waiting for, really?
Well, Tavien St. Clair is not waiting any longer. He's made his college decision, just momentarily letting the coaching staff in Columbus know. Congratulations to Coach Brown. I mean, it's such a big day for Ohio in general, but for you guys in specific, it's almost unfathomable to consider. So I'm going to let you go back to wherever you are now. The internet's awesome, and celebrate. And we appreciate you, taking us on this journey, man. It's a long way to go, but looking forward to seeing where it goes.
Yes, sir. Go Bucks.
That's Tavien St. Clair. I'm Jeremy Birmingham. This has been Birminology on the podcast. Thank you for watching.